Article 590 covers temporary wiring. 590.1 Scope. This article covers the installation of wiring systems and equipment for temporary use during the period of construction or alteration of buildings or structures and for similar purposes. 590.2 Definitions. Temporary wiring is a wiring system used during the period of construction or alteration of buildings or structures and for similar purposes. 590.3 Other articles. This article supplements Section 300.15, Section 520.66, and other applicable articles of this Code. 590.4 General requirements. Temporary wiring shall be installed and used in accordance with the provisions of this article and other applicable articles of this Code, including the designated sections of Section 590.8. The temporary wiring shall be installed, used, and removed only as permitted by this article and other applicable articles of this Code. 590.5 Circuit load. The temporary wiring system shall be rated for a load not to exceed the load of the connected equipment. 590.6 Feeders. Temporary feeders shall be run as single conductors or multi-conductor cable. Temporary feeders shall be multiple insulated stranded wire type SE or a listed equivalent. 590.7 Branch circuits. Branch circuits shall be run as single conductors or multi-conductor cable. Branch circuit shall be multiple insulated stranded wire type SE or a listed equivalent. Branch circuit shall be protected by overcurrent protective devices rated at not more than 15 amps. 590.8 Disconnecting means. A disconnecting means shall be provided for each temporary wiring system. A disconnecting means shall be a fused disconnect switch or circuit breaker. 590.9 Grounding. Temporary wiring systems shall be grounded in accordance with Section 250.118. The grounding electrode system for temporary wiring systems shall be in accordance with Section 250.52. 590.10 Receptacles. Temporary receptacles shall be protected by ground fault circuit interrupters, abbreviated as GFCIs. Temporary receptacles shall be listed for outdoor use. 590.11 Lighting fixtures. Temporary lighting fixtures shall be guarded or located out of reach. Temporary lighting fixtures shall be protected by ground fault circuit interrupters, abbreviated as GFCIs. 590.12 Cords and cables. Cords and cables used for temporary wiring shall be listed for such use. Cords and cables shall be used as listed and shall not be altered. 590.13 Inspection and testing. Temporary wiring systems shall be inspected and tested before use. The inspection and testing shall be in accordance with the provisions of this article and other applicable articles of this Code. 590.14 Removal. Temporary wiring shall be removed when it is no longer needed. Temporary wiring shall be removed in a manner to prevent it from being reused. This provides the essential requirements for temporary wiring according to NEC Article 590. Now let's delve deeper into each section, expanding on the practical implications and providing further clarification. Starting with 590.1, the scope clearly defines where this article applies, focusing on temporary wiring systems used during construction, alteration, or similar activities. This means that any wiring that is not intended to be a permanent part of the building's electrical system falls under this article. This could include wiring for temporary lighting, power tools, or other equipment used during the construction phase. 590.2 provides a straightforward definition of temporary wiring, reiterating its use during construction and alteration. This definition helps to distinguish temporary wiring from permanent wiring, ensuring that the correct standards and safety measures are applied. Moving on to 590.3 Other articles, it emphasizes that Article 590 is not the only set of rules to follow. It supplements other sections of the NEC, such as 300.15 and 520.66, as well as other applicable articles. This means that you must consider the requirements in these other articles in addition to the requirements in Article 590. For example, Section 300.15 deals with raceways and cable installations, which may be relevant to how your temporary wiring is run. 590.4 General Requirements outlines the overall rules for temporary wiring. It must be installed and used according to Article 590 and other relevant parts of the NEC. The wiring must be installed, used, and removed according to the rules. This highlights the importance of following all applicable codes and standards to ensure safety. 590.5 Circuit load mandates that the temporary wiring system must be rated for the load it will carry. In simpler terms, the wiring and equipment must be able to handle the amount of electricity being used. Overloading a temporary wiring system can lead to overheating, fire hazards, and equipment damage. 590.6 Feeders addresses the conductors that bring power from the source to the temporary wiring system. These feeders must be run as single conductors or multi-conductor cables and must be multiple insulated stranded wire, type SE or a listed equivalent. The requirement for multiple insulation and stranded wire improves safety and flexibility. 590.7 Branch circuits covers the wiring that extends from the feeders to the point of use, such as outlets or lighting fixtures. Like feeders, branch circuits must be run as single conductors or multi-conductor cable and must be multiple insulated stranded wire, type SE or a listed equivalent. Furthermore, these branch circuits must be protected by overcurrent protective devices such as circuit breakers or fuses, rated at not more than 15 amps. This amperage limit helps to prevent overloading and potential fire hazards. 590.8 Disconnecting means specifies that each temporary wiring system must have a way to disconnect it from the power source. This disconnecting means must be a fused disconnect switch or circuit breaker. This allows for quick and easy shutoff of the temporary wiring system in case of an emergency or for maintenance. 590.9 Grounding emphasizes the importance of grounding temporary wiring systems. Grounding must be done according to section 250.118, and the grounding electrode system must comply with section 250.52. Proper grounding helps to protect against electrical shock and equipment damage. 590.10 Receptacles requires that temporary receptacles be protected by ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs. GFCIs are designed to quickly interrupt the flow of electricity in the event of a ground fault, which can help prevent electrical shock. The receptacles must also be listed for outdoor use, indicating that they are designed to withstand the elements. 590.11 Lighting fixtures addresses the safety of temporary lighting. Temporary lighting fixtures must be guarded or located out of reach to prevent accidental contact. Additionally, they must be protected by ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs, for added safety. 590.12 Cords and cables specifies that cords and cables used for temporary wiring must be listed for such use. This means that they have been tested and approved for temporary wiring applications. The cords and cables must be used as listed and must not be altered, ensuring that they are used in a safe and appropriate manner. 590.13 Inspection and testing mandates that temporary wiring systems be inspected and tested before use. This inspection and testing must be done according to the provisions of Article 590 and other applicable articles of the NEC. Regular inspections and testing can help identify potential problems and ensure that the system is safe to use. Finally, 590.14 Removal requires that temporary wiring be removed when it is no longer needed. The wiring must be removed in a way that prevents it from being reused. This helps to prevent the use of old or damaged wiring in future applications. In summary, Article 590 of the NEC provides a comprehensive set of rules for the installation, use, and removal of temporary wiring systems. By following these rules, you can help to ensure the safety of workers and the public during construction and alteration projects. Let's now elaborate on grounding and ground fault circuit interrupters, abbreviated as GFCIs, as they are critical safety components in temporary wiring systems. Grounding, as mentioned in 590.9, is essential for providing a safe path for fault current to return to the source. This helps to trip over current protective devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, quickly in the event of a fault, preventing electrical shock and minimizing equipment damage. According to Section 250.118, acceptable grounding methods for temporary wiring systems include metal raceways, metal cable trays, metal enclosures, and equipment grounding conductors run with the circuit conductors. The grounding electrode system, as per Section 250.52, must consist of a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod, a metal water pipe, or a concrete encased electrode connected to the grounding system. GFCIs, as required in 590.10 and 590.11, are designed to protect against ground faults, which occur when electricity flows through an unintended path to ground. This can happen if someone accidentally touches a live wire or if there is a fault in the wiring or equipment. GFCIs work by monitoring the current flowing in the circuit and quickly interrupting the flow of electricity if a ground fault is detected. They are very sensitive and can trip even with a small amount of current leakage, providing a high level of protection against electrical shock. For temporary wiring systems, GFCIs are required for all receptacles and lighting fixtures. This means that any device that plugs into a temporary receptacle must be protected by a GFCI. Similarly, any temporary lighting fixture must also be protected by a GFCI. The use of GFCIs is particularly important in wet or damp locations, where the risk of electrical shock is higher. Now, let's discuss feeders and branch circuits in more detail. Feeders, as defined in 590.6, are the conductors that supply power from the source to the temporary wiring system. They must be sized according to the load they will carry and must be protected by overcurrent protective devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses. The requirement for multiple insulated stranded wire type SE or a listed equivalent improve safety and flexibility. Stranded wire is more flexible than solid wire, making it easier to work with in temporary wiring applications. Multiple insulation provides an extra layer of protection against electrical shock. Branch circuits, as defined in 590.7, are the conductors that extend from the feeders to the point of use, such as outlets or lighting fixtures. Like feeders, branch circuits must be sized according to the load they will carry and must be protected by overcurrent protective devices. The requirement for overcurrent protective devices rated at not more than 15 amps helps to prevent overloading and potential fire hazards. This limit is generally adequate for most temporary lighting and power tool applications. In addition to the requirements outlined in Article 590, it is important to follow other applicable articles of the NEC. For example, Article 300 covers wiring methods and materials, and Article 400 covers flexible cords and cables. These articles provide additional guidance on how to install and use temporary wiring systems safely and effectively. Finally, it is important to remember that temporary wiring systems are just that, temporary. They should be removed as soon as they are no longer needed. This helps to prevent the use of old or damaged wiring in future applications and reduces the risk of electrical hazards. The removal process should be done carefully and in accordance with the provisions of Article 590. The wiring should be disconnected from the power source and removed in a way that prevents it from being reused. In conclusion, temporary wiring is a critical aspect of construction and alteration projects, and it is essential to follow the requirements of NEC Article 590 to ensure safety. By understanding the scope, definitions, general requirements, and safety measures outlined in this article, you can help to prevent electrical hazards and protect workers and the public.